Alright, today we are going to learn about direct and indirect speech. I hope that you may have your own prior knowledge about direct and indirect speech. Think over this issue and then try to list out some important points that you have seen in your past time related to direct and indirect speech. Alright, try to do for yourself. Now let me try to see each of them one by one. እስኪ እያንዳንዳቸውን አንድ ባንድ ለማየት እንሞክር። So direct speech. It is the actual speech of the first speaker. Direct speech-ን በተመለከተ በምናይበት ጊዜ የመጀመሪያው ሰው ቀጥታ ንግግር ወይም ሐሳብ ማለት ነው direct speech. And this direct speech uses punctuation marks like that of comma and double quotation marks, and it may be used full stop or question mark upon the statement or the question that we are using. Okay, እዚህ ጋር punctuation marks ወይም ደግሞ ስርዓተ ነጥቦችን ለምሳሌ እንደ ኮማ እና double quotation mark አይነት ስርዓተ ነጥቦችን ሊጠቀም ይችላል። ከዛም ባለፈ ፉል ስቶፕ ወይም ደግሞ ጥያቄ ምልክት ይጠቀማል ማለት ነው። ከዛ the very important point that we should have to know related to this direct speech is that the initial letter that has enclosed with quotation mark should be written in the form of capital letter. This is the rule that we should have to know related to the direct speech. For example, let's take a look at this example. He said that, comma, then we have closed double quotation mark, or we opened a double quotation mark here, and we said, I am bored, okay? I am bored. So here we have said that the capital letter I, this is the actual speech of the first speaker. So the initial letter for this word should be written in the form of capital letter. So here I should be written only in the form of capital letter. But if we are writing I with small letter, we are incorrect. And then we should have to put here full stop. Okay, we should have to put here full stop, and then we should have to enclose with a double quotation mark. Okay, እዚህ ጋር ለምሳሌ ይህ የመጀመሪያው ሰው የተናገረው ሐሳብ ነው እና እዚህ ጋር ኮማ አለች፣ እዚህ ጋር double quotation mark አለ፣ እዚህ ጋር ደግሞ አይ አለች። አይ የምትጻፈው በካፒታል ሌተር ነው፣ ምክንያቱም እዚህ ጋር ህጉ ነው። በስሞል ሌተር ካደረግን we are incorrect. Then here we should have to put full stop. Okay, እዚህ ጋር full stop አለ፣ እዚህ ጋር it must be full stop፣ እዚህ ጋር full stop አለ። ኦኬ፣ እሱን መርሳት የለብንም ማለት ነው። ይህንን ኮቴሽን ማርክን በተመለከተ እዚህ ጋር በቀላሉ በዳይሬክት ስፒች ጊዜ ደብል ኮቴሽን ማርክ አለ፣ እዚህ ጋር ደብል ኮቴሽን ማርክ አለ። ሲንግል ኮቴሽን ማርክ ኢምፖሲብል፣ ደብል ኮቴሽን ማርክ ነው። ይሄንን ማየት መቻል አለብን። this is to express the first speaker's speech። በአጠቃላይ እዚህ ጋር ዳይሬክት ስፒችን በተመለከተ ፎከስ አድርገን እንይዛቸው የሚገቡ ሶስት ነጥቦች አሉ። አንደኛ it is the actual speech of the first person, and it uses punctuation marks like that of comma, double quotation mark, and depending on the statement or on the question that we are arguing. If we are expressing a statement, we can use full stop. If we are expressing a question, we should have to use question mark, and the initial letter that has enclosed with quotation mark must be written in the form of capital letter. So these are the very important point we should have to know related to direct speech. Now, let me proceed to the next, which is indirect speech. It is a speech told by a second person after he has listened from a first speaker. እዚህ ጋር ፎከስ አድርገን ኢንዳይሬክት ስፒችን በተመለከተ በቀላሉ ማስተር ለማድረግ ለምሳሌ ሶስት ሰዎች አሉ እንበል፣ ኤ ቢ and ሲ የተባሉ ሰዎች ቢኖሩ እነኚህ ሰዎች ለምሳሌ ኤ የተባለ ሰው የሆነ ሐሳብ ለቢ ቢነግረውና ቢ ደግሞ ከሰማ በኋላ ለሲ ቢነግረው ሲ የሰማው መረጃ ኢንዳይሬክትሊ ነው ማለት ነው። ሶ ይህ አይነት አገላለጽ ማለት ኢንዳይሬክት ስፒች ይባላል ማለት ነው። እና ፉል ስቶፕ ኢዝ ዩዝድ ሂር አት ዘ ኤንድ። ፉል ስቶፕን አት ዘ ኤንድ ኦፍ ዘ ሴንቴንስ እንጠቀማለን። ለምሳሌ ሌትስ ቴክ ኤ ሉክ አት ዚስ ኤግዛምፕል ሂ ሳይድ ዳት ሂ ዋዝ ቦርድ ኦኬ ዜን ሂር ዊ ሹድ ሃቭ ቱ ፑት ኤ ፉል ስቶፕ we should have to put a full stop. And the another point that we should have to see very critically related to this indirect speech is that pronoun and tense can be changed. This is fact. For example, let's take a look at the examples that we have seen for direct speech. He said, I am bored. And let's come to the example that has taken for indirect speech. He said that he was bored. Look, here is he and here is I. So we have changed I into he. And here is am and here is was. So am has changed into was. So this shows that pronoun and tense change is inevitable when we are changing a statement from direct speech into indirect speech. So we should have to know this fact. እነኚህ ነገሮች በደንብ ማወቅ መቻል አለብን ማለት ነው። አንደኛ ያው ቅድም ለማለት እንደተሞከረው ሶስት ሰዎች ቢኖሩና የመጀመሪያው ኤ የተባለው ሰው ከተናገረ በኋላ ቢ ሰምቶ ለሲ የሚናገረው ከሆነ ሲ መረጃ የሚያገኘው ኢንዳይሬክትሊ ስለሆነ ይህ ኢንዳይሬክት ስፒች የሚባል መሆኑን ኢንዳይሬክት ስፒችን በተመለከተ ማስታወስ መቻል አለብን። ፉል ስቶፕን የሚጠቀም መሆኑን ማስታወስ መቻል አለብን። እንደገና ደግሞ ከዳይሬክት ስፒች ወደ ኢንዳይሬክት ስፒች ሀሳባችንን በምንቀይርበት ጊዜ ፕሮናውን ወይም ደግሞ ቴንስ ቼንጅ እንዳለ መዘንጋት የለብንም። ሉክ another point that we should have to know related to this indirect speech is that while converting direct speech into indirect speech, the tense of the verb must change accordingly. For example, look, here we have tenses. So if the verb is given with simple present, we should have to change it to simple past. verbaችን በሲምፕል ፕሬዘንት ከተሰጠን ወደ ሲምፕል ፓስት መቀየር መቻል አለብን ማለት ነው። If the verb is given with simple past, we should have to change it to past perfect. verbu በሲምፕል ፓስት ከተሰጠን እኛ ወደ ፓስት ፐርፌክት መቀየር አለብን ማለት ነው። If the verb is given with present continuous tense, we should have to change it to past continuous tense. verbu በpresent continuous tense ከተሰጠን እኛ በፓስት continuous tense መቀየር አለብን ማለት ነው። If the present perfect is given, if the verb is given with present perfect tense, we should have to change it to past perfect tense. በፕሬዘንት ፐርፌክት ቴንስ ቨርቡ ከተሰጠን እኛ ወደ ፓስት ፐርፌክት ቴንስ መቀየር አለብን። ከዛ ባለፈ በዳይሬክት ስፒች ላይ ለምሳሌ ካን፣ ሻል፣ ዊል፣ ሜይ ሊኖሩ ይችላሉ እና እነኚህን ራሱ ወደ የምንቀይርበት ዘዴ አለ ማለት ያ ማለት ለምሳሌ ዳይሬክት ስፒች ላይ ካን ካለ ይህ ሞዳል ቨርብ ሹድ ቢ ቼንጅድ ኢንቱ ኩድ ማለት ነው፣ ወደ ኩድ ይቀየራል። ዳይሬክት ስፒች ላይ ሻል ካለ ኢት ሹድ ቢ ቼንጅድ ኢንቱ ሹድ ወደ ሹድ ይቀየራል ማለት ነው። ዳይሬክት ስፒች ላይ ዊል ካለ ኢት ሹድ ቢ ቼንጅድ ኢንቱ ዊል አንድ ዳይሬክት ስፒች ላይ ሜይ ካለ ኢት ሹድ ቢ ቼንጅድ ኢንቱ ሜት። ሶ እነኚህን ነገሮች በደንብ አትኩረን መከታተልና ፕራክቲስ ማድረግ ሪሄርስ ማድረግ ያስፈልገናል ማለት ነው። ኢን ኦርደር ቱ ስፔሻሊ ማስተር ዘ ኮንዲሽን ኦር ዘ ሲቹዌሽን ኦፍ ኢንዳይሬክት ስፒች ማለት ነው። ሶ እዚህ ላይ አንድ ጥያቄ ልጠይቃችሁ እንዳለራሳችሁ እስኪ ምላሽ ስጡ። ዳይሬክት ስፒች እና ኢንዳይሬክት ስፒችን በተመለከተ ምን አይነት ግንዛቤ አገኛችሁ? በጣም ጥሩ። እንግዲህ እናንተ እሱን እያሰባችሁ ሄዱ። ወደ ኔክስት ፖይንት that we should have to add related to direct and indirect speech is that okay the next let we proceed to the next. All right, look, words indicating nearness of time and place are changed towards indicating distance of time and place. This is the very key point that we should have to know during indirect speech. When we are changing an idea from direct speech into indirect speech, words indicating nearness of time and place are changed towards indicating distance of time and place. For example, let's take a look at these words and these ones. If we have a word within the direct speech which says this should be changed into that. If we have a word within the direct speech, when we are converting the direct speech into reported or indirect speech, it should be changed into those. If we have here, it should be changed into there. If we have now within the sentence, which is direct speech, it should be changed into then. If we have today, it should be changed into that day. And if we have tomorrow, this should be changed into the next day or the following day. And if we have yesterday, this should be changed into the day before or the previous day. Now, you should have to focus very critically in terms of studying, in terms of listening towards these rules in order to master on how to convert direct speeches into indirect speeches. Okay? Okay, all right. And now, another very important point we should have to know on how to report questions or reporting questions. There are two types of questions: yes, no questions and WH word questions. So, yes, no questions use if or whether. When we are reporting questions, we may have a probability to get first yes, no questions and second WH word questions. So how we are going to just convert from direct speech into indirect speech? The yes, no questions. Maybe the expressions for yes, no questions is that there is a word if or there is a word whether. Look, the example. He asked, comma, then open double quotation mark. Did you finish your work? Question mark, then open double quotation mark. This is a direct speech. So this should be just converted into, he asked if, because here we have said that in time of converting direct speech into indirect speech, that is based on yes, no questions, we can use if or whether. So here we have used, he asked if I had finished my work. Alright, and now, next, WH word questions can be also just converted from direct speech into indirect speech. They are reported using WH words. For example, let us take a look at this example. He asked, what are you doing? Here it is comma, here there is double quotation mark, and this W is written in the form of capital letter, and then there is question mark, then quotation mark. He asked what he was doing. So this is how we are going to convert. Look here, okay. They are converting the WH word questions are converting using the WH words we said. So here we have used one, the WH word. He asked what I was doing. So totally, we should have to know these very important things related to direct and indirect speeches. Okay, direct and indirect speeches. So to summarize, direct speeches are the speeches of the first person, and they use punctuation marks like that of comma and the double question mark, double quotation marks, and full stop and persons depending on the idea that we are expressing, and the first letter or the initial letter should be written in the form of capital letter, and the indirect speech is a speech told by a second person after he has listened from a first speaker, and full stop is used here at the end, and the pronoun and tense can be changed. While converting the direct speech into indirect speech, the tense of the verb must be changed, So we should have to know this part as we have discussed so far. And there are also conditions there are also conditions that can make us to change words indicating nearness of time and place are changed towards indicating the distance of time and place. So we should have to know this part. So for more elaboration or clarification, you should have to study repeatedly. And when you are trying to convert direct speech into indirect speech on focusing on questions, you should have to use if or whether for yes/no questions. And when you are converting direct speech that is with WH word, you can use the WH words like the example that we have used here. Thank you for staying with us.